Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. One airline is suspending flights due to the lack of travel. Also tonight, CPA states their procedures regarding seaports and COVID-19. And U.S. Congress has created a bill that will provide funding toward the fight against the coronavirus. We have the details. In sports, one team soars higher than all others in the UFO League. Stay with us. These stories and more are next.
My family is on whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume.
Since we installed the Docomo whole home Wi-Fi, what did you guys notice about it?
When you pull up the driveway, it automatically connects, and I don't have to get out of my car right away and come upstairs to go on my phone.
My favorite thing is that it doesn't buffer when I'm watching YouTube.
My favorite thing is that when Addie calls now, there's no lag. Like before it used to be where I couldn't see her sometimes and I have to hang up and then call her back, and now I don't have to do that.
You know what's a good thing too is that when you come over to visit, I could give you your own password. I can assign a time limit so that I can say that you can only be on it for 1 hour. So that means you won't get in trouble from your mom.
And then you can go home.
The thing that I love the most is that I can freeze the internet for periods of time so that we can enjoy dinner time like this. Why are you rolling your eyes? So I'll turn it back on after dinner. Whole home Wi-Fi powered by Plume. Docomo Pacific, better together.
Hold up, stop.
What?
You sure you want to do this? Because once you take that bite, there's no turning back to breakfast like this. Nope. Or this. Ooh. Or this.
Wow.
It's time to change your life. For breakfast. With freshly prepared, buttery, crispy McChicken biscuits and savory sweet chicken McGriddles. Now at McDonald's nationwide. Wake up breakfast.
Off a day to Ruwami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2020. United Airlines has announced today a suspension of flights starting at the end of this month. Due to the decline in demand resulting from the coronavirus, United Airlines is taking some additional steps to reduce its international and domestic schedules. According to a release from United Airlines, one area affected by this is flights to and from Guam. Routes between Guam and Saipan will have one flight daily with a suspension of the evening flights. The flight from Guam to Saipan, UA 174, departing at 7:30 a.m. will remain the same, and the flight from Saipan to Guam, UA 117, will remain departing at 9:15 a.m. The suspension of the evening flights will begin March 30th and last until April 30th. Other routes affected by the adjusted schedule include flights between Guam and Narita, flights between Guam and Nagoya, Japan, flights between Guam and Osaka, Japan, and flights between Guam and Koror, Palau. The adjusted schedule will begin at the end of March and run through the end of April as well. United Airlines states the Island Hopper will operate Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from March 29th through April 27th and will not be landing on Kwajalein on Wednesdays. The United Managing Director for Airport Operations for Asia Pacific, Sam Shinohara, says, quote, "As a result of the decline in demand for travel in our region, United is temporarily adjusting our flight schedules for Guam. We are monitoring the situation closely and are committed to working with the visitors bureaus and stakeholders in the regions to rebuild demand for travel and return to normal operations as soon as possible," end quote. United is waiving change fees for any domestic or international booking between March 3rd and March 31st. For more information, visit united.com, UAL, Fly Travel Notices, or contact United Reservations at 1-800-UNITED-1. In the courtroom of Judge Robert Naraha, a male is pleading not guilty to 12 different counts. According to court documents, 23-year-old Patrick Hernandez Muña led officers on a chase 4 separate times, twice in September of 2019, once in January of 2020, and on February 5th, where each time officers were unable to catch the suspect. On February 5th, Muña allegedly crashed the vehicle into the retaining wall of the aging center in Chinatown and fled on foot. Officers found marijuana, crystal meth, one piece of 40mm ammunition between the driver's seat and the side door, along with other items that were found in the vehicle, such as jewelry, clothes, and a cell phone. On Sunday, February 9th, officers spotted Muña at the Dollar Poker parking lot in Garapan, where Muña was then arrested. Muña is facing charges on theft of a vehicle, 4 counts of reckless driving, 4 counts of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer, receiving stolen property, and 2 counts of illegal possession of a controlled substance, 1 for crystal meth and 1 for marijuana. A status conference is scheduled for April 21st at 1:30 p.m. The Commonwealth Ports Authority is informing the public there is no blanket 30-day quarantine for all vessels from Asia. CPA has a plan at all seaports in the Sinamai in regard to COVID-19. Federal regulations require the master of the ship for any vessel destined for the United States port to report any illnesses or death among the ship's passengers or crew to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That includes fever, cough, and shortness of breath. CPA says on cruise ships, CDC works with the ship's lead physician, and if there is a concern, CDC will work with CHCC to provide recommendations on a case-by-case basis. And on non-cruise ships, if an individual has symptoms of the coronavirus, the ship has been advised to collect 5 pieces of data before contacting CDC. That's a list of the sick traveler's signs and symptoms, the sick traveler's highest recorded temperature, the date and port the traveler embarked, the ship's ports of call within the last 14 days, and the ports of call that the sick travelers disembarked during the 14 days before the person became ill. CPA states if an individual arrives at the seaport and is suspected of having the coronavirus, the individual will wear a face mask and will be transported to a medical facility. Financial aid may be coming to the Commonwealth thanks to the U.S. Congress and our Washington delegate. Take a listen.
An emergency bill to fund agencies that will fight the coronavirus was passed by the U.S. Congress and signed by President Donald Trump last week. It is an $8.3 billion spending package aiming to protect public health. The package includes a $950 million allocation to states, locals, territories, and tribes for surveillance, laboratory testing, contact tracing, infection control at the local level to prevent additional cases. The package also includes reimbursement for costs already incurred for coronavirus preparedness, construction or renovation of facilities to improve preparedness and response capabilities, funds for health agencies who are short on protective equipment and health services.
A big portion of that funding federally will be going to state and local health advisors and offices and departments. So CHC is our primary agency, our state agency for medical funding, and that funding will be funneled in. We have to go through the necessary justification process, but we are at the forefront. We are at the front lines of coronavirus for the United States, and we know we'll be making that case. The governor, the CEO, CHCC, and our task force are working really hard to make sure that we provide the justification for this funding to not only continue our preventative measures, but to also provide some economic relief at the end, because that's our biggest concern right now.
And to address budget cuts and other austerity measures the Commonwealth is taking, Delegate Gregorio Kalili Sablon has introduced a legislation that would appropriate $100 million in operational funding. It is called Coronavirus Emergency Assistance Act. Kalili states the act is intended to make sure the people of the Marianas, especially seniors and children, have access to the care and education essential to their health, safety, and well-being. And because the Marianas is tourism dependent and our tourists come from areas hit hard by the coronavirus, we are at the front line. The bill calls attention to the immediate need in the Marianas and will help push Congress to act quickly to face the economic effects of the coronavirus.
The Capitol Hill water tank along Mount Tapachow Road and the adjacent street to Coral Island condos will be experiencing a scheduled water service interruption tomorrow morning. The Commonwealth Utilities Corporation states Tuesday, March 10th from 8 a.m. to noon. Water will be interrupted for CUC's contractor Tropex Garden to connect the new 6-inch distribution main to the existing 6-inch main, providing a more reliable water system to the community. For the latest updates, follow CUC's Facebook page. Coming up, it is a national recognition for one organization that never fails to lend a helping hand, especially in the CNMI. Find out more after the break.
Mom, are you sure? What about the shutters? And do you have your medicine?
Don't worry about us, love, okay? You take good care of yourself. I'm in love. Yeah, sorry. The power went out, so I had to light up all the candles. Yeah. Yes, baby, yeah. I'm just glad our home phone's working and we're able to contact you.
Green sea turtles and hawksbill turtles call the Mariana Islands home. They are an important part of the marine ecosystem. They are under threat, and they are protected under CNMI law. Keep plastic out of the ocean. Keep vehicles off the beach. Use the Sea Turtle Stranding Hotline if you see poaching activities or if you see a turtle in trouble. Call 287-8537 and save a turtle.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. The Commonwealth recognizes and commends the staff and volunteers from American Red Cross for all the assistance, support, and care we've received. KSPN's Sally Lemus reports.
A proclamation signing was held this afternoon to declare the month of March as American Red Cross Month. This tradition began in 1943. It was to raise awareness of the organization and its humanitarian mission.
The Red Cross is a nonprofit organization and it's volunteer-led. So there's a very few number of actual paid staff and all the work really gets done by volunteers. So without them, we really wouldn't have an organization. And so March is really an opportunity to talk about the things that we do in our community and to thank our volunteers and our donors.
Executive Director John Hirsch says with the outbreak of the coronavirus, the Red Cross team continues to support the government and is working every day to develop plans and examine every possible scenario.
What if someone in my family gets sick? What if something happens within my business and somebody's sick? Are we able to work remotely? Or how are we going to care for someone who's not feeling well or might have the flu and things like that? So we're really out there now encouraging everyone in the community to go to the CDC website, go to the local Commonwealth Health Center website and get information about the coronavirus and who's vulnerable in the community, what to do if there were an outbreak here. There is no outbreak now, but like the Red Cross always encourages everyone in the community to be prepared. So that might mean, stocking up on 1 month's worth of your medicine or buying a couple extra things of toilet paper or rice or something like that, just in case, you might have to kind of shelter in place and stay at home for a couple weeks while you're recovering.
The NMI chapter has a long, more than 40-year history of helping our neighbors in need.
They've been such a heroic partner in every single disaster and typhoon and any sort of calamity that's happened in the CNMI over the last few decades. Typhoon Sotalor was my first glimpse of the partnership personally as a junior public information officer for this government, and working with John Hirsch, JD Tenorio, the Red Cross Board of Directors. Those guys are awesome. I can't say anything else about them. The governor, lieutenant governor, they both really value their partnership in the sense that it's more than just a nonprofit organization trying to help out. They do more than just that. They go the extra mile in everything they do.
They continue to work with its partners, like the Department of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, to prevent all types of tragedies. Through the Home Fire campaign in the CNMI, over 800 free smoke alarms have been installed.
And then we talk to the family members about fire safety, about cooking, candles, things that could happen that could start a fire. And then most importantly, if there was a fire, how to get out of the house and get out quickly and have a meeting place. So when all the people in the home start running out of the house, that there's a defined meeting place for that family so that they know that so-and-so isn't left still in the house. They know where they are.
This campaign has made more than 350 households safer from the threat of fire. The CNMI dedicates the month of March to all those who support its vital work to prevent human suffering in the face of emergencies. Together, we are Mariana Strong. I'm Sally Limis for KSPN News.
On Guam, territorial experts will deliberate the island's future political status in a panel discussion in Puerto Rico. KUAM reports.
Havade, here's your Guam news update. Long-standing questions about their future political status will be in a high-level forum this weekend in Puerto Rico. Sponsored by one of the Commonwealth's top universities, territorial experts will discuss what it means to be an unincorporated territory.
Former Congressman and UOG President Dr. Robert Underwood will participate in a panel discussion at the Puerto Rico event. He says the forum is driven in part by House Resolution 641, introduced by Natural Resources Committee Chairman Raul Grijalva of Arizona, which basically holds that the Supreme Court's decisions on the so-called insular cases were racist and ethnocentric and adopted a separate but equal doctrine that should be rejected as unconstitutional.
At one level, the unincorporated territorial status created by the insular cases, which says that you are owned by the United States but not part of the United States. But then statutorily, when the Guam Organic Act was passed, it clearly states in there, Guam is an unincorporated territory. And by that, I think they meant that there's a lot of options that are foreclosed for you. Don't think you can ever become a state. Don't think you can ever, do something else that establishes that relationship. So I guess theoretically, at one level, if that's removed, then it may mean more options.
Underwood says Puerto Rico, which he calls the 800-pound gorilla in territorial affairs because of its population of more than 3 million, has also been keen to redefine its political relationship with the U.S.
So what they have amassed are a number of leading authorities on the subject, and Puerto Rico has been more interested in this topic than I think other territories. And so they are going to study what is the meaning of unincorporated territorial status and what happens if we become incorporated territories. Does that mean that we're on an automatic path to statehood?
And Underwood believes Guam should be careful about what it asks for.
We're always raising the issue that Guam should be a full participant in all federal programs as American citizens. But of course, that's a decision made by Congress, and it's also a decision partially tied to do you pay income taxes? So what does that mean in terms of programmatic participation, and what does it mean also in terms of future taxation? And does it really open the door to statehood, or will that be resisted?
Underwood was asked to speak on what unincorporated has meant from the perspective of a small and remote territory like Guam. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor LeConto.
For more, go to KUAM.com.
Stay tuned after the news tonight for our special segment of Vintage News. This one takes us back to April 20th, 1993. The zoning board proposes a plan that would control the growth on Saipan, but is blocked by members who are trying to protect the local people. After a lengthy discussion and an amendment to the bill, the Saipan delegation voted to adopt a new zoning plan. And as island leaders prepare for a budget hearing in D.C., congressmen work together to tackle issues such as the 702 agreement.
I remember those days well, actually. All right, coming up in the KSPN2 Sports Report, leagues are like doors. They open, they close. That's what doors are for. Same thing with leagues.
Enroll at Gold's Gym Saipan with group exercise for every body. Total Resistant Exercise, or TRX, helps develop your core and improve strength. And Zumba toning is probably the funnest way to get fit. The Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplements. Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Buenas sports fans. Friend sports fans, special airing tonight on Channel 2, the NMSA, the Northern Mariana Sports Association Awards Banquet, will be played in its entirety. All right, tonight we've got a Sunday night special. The UFO Basketball League crowned their men's Open champions last night. Blue Eagles versus Shirley's Coffee Shop. Hey, let's eat.
An almost full moon hovers over the Ada Gym for the 7:30 Sunday evening start. A large, attentive crowd in the house for this season finale between the top two teams in the land. Shirley's opening points, courtesy of Ed Diaz. He's really supposed to be in the Masters League, you know. Jack Aranda jacks one up, no good. Here's the Big Mac attack. Mac Duenas with the follow. More Duenas, the long pass ahead to Diaz for the lightning strike. Jack. No! Dennis Mendiola with the sneak attack. J. Mark de Guzman hits the cutter. Jack Lizama for the bucket. Gerald Flores with the jump hook for Shirley's. Duenas, the pride of San Antonio, hitting from the trench. Eagles can fly. Douglas Schmidt to de Guzman. Future stars were impressed. Hey, who's going to come off the bench to help Shirley's? Oh, how about Freddie Policeman? The microwave. Yeah, he can heat up real fast. The new scoreboard from FEMA indicated that the game was tied at that point. More from Freddie. He gets it done inside. And you know, he is, and still is, one of the best free throw shooters on the island. Baza for the spot up three. He's one of the best three-point shooters. Fans were witnessing a seesaw game. Blue Eagles didn't lose a game all season. Would this be their first? Shirley's led by 2 points at halftime. Jugos left all alone. He buries that three ball. Corner pocket, B3. Douglas Schmidt says, I see your three and raise you three. The player of the game scored 24 points. Plus, he had a bucket full of steals. More Big Mac attack. This game was close until the third quarter, late in the third period. That's when Preston Baza's three put the Blue Eagles up by 10. And J. Mark de Guzman, a breakaway. Blue Eagles dominated the money period to run away with the championship, 100-82.
Well, that men's island-wide basketball league ended this weekend, and so did the elementary school boys and girls basketball tournaments.
As many people were here at the elementary school championships as in the men's championships. That's because these players cannot drive. They need someone to take them to the games, and yeah, mamas and grandmas, they like to go to these games too. These students, you know, they're not big, so some uniform adjustments are necessary. Basketball is difficult for elementary school students, but Coblerville Elementary in black was making it look easy as they played Brilliant Star with 8.5-foot high baskets. More Umangs. That's a wide open basket on an inbounds play. They must have practiced it. A baseline bucket. And that made it 10-2. Coblerville. They won every game under well-dressed coach Francis Mendiola, and they beat Cagman Elementary 12-10 in the final. Let's take a look at the girls' action. That's San Vicente scoring against William S. Regis Elementary. Traveling? Ha! What's traveling? Most of these players don't know that rule. Refs let them play. She traveled 5 times on that single play. Still, and the skill building process, so don't sweat it yet. The Agape Christian School, with only 5 girls, took the elementary school's title, defeating Cobleville.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Snorkeling, kayaking, mountain biking, off-roading, go-karting, and great hiking. Choose Mariana's Trekking for great adventure tours. We have the greatest guides who always offer more. And our mascot Emma will guide you on some fun. Mariana's Trekking is great for everyone.
Traveling or laying over on Guam? Don't wait around. Zip into Guam Adventures Zipline Park inside the Hilton Resort and Spa. Guides will take you through a series of zips, starting with a mountain course and then zip over the ocean with spectacular views of Tumon Bay. 6 zip lines in all deliver a thrilling experience, and it's family friendly, so bring the kids ages 6 and up. You'll love the security of double lines and a new braking system to make riding smoother. The towers are named after the islands in the Marianas. We call it the Island Hopper. Your guides will teach you what you need to know to soar through the jungle with a bird's eye view. Best of all, for residents of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota, you can book this experience at 20% savings. Log on to GuamAdventures.com and during checkout, use offer code HAFA20. Book it and zip it today. We'll even pick you up.
We got a high temperature today of, I think it was 86, and the low was 75, humidity 62%. Tomorrow we're going to have partly cloudy skies, some isolated showers, winds out of the east 10 to 15, high around 87, low 76, seas 4 to 6 feet. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:28, high tide at 8:34 in the morning, followed by a low tide at 2:31, sunset at 6:26. And yes, there is a full moon tonight.
So I saw the full moon last night as well.
You saw the almost full moon.
Oh, it was almost?
Yeah, 99%.
Okay, so I woke up at 4 a.m. and I just looked out the window and I could see the moon and it was reflecting off the water.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
I took a bunch of pictures. I was like, this is nice.
So you're saying I should get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and take a picture?
Yeah, I just couldn't sleep. I thought I'd look out the window, but it was
Well, I got a better idea. Why don't you take a picture and show it to me?
Yeah.
And then or send it to me, and then I'll have a copy, and I won't have to get up at 4 o'clock.
All right, that sounds
That's
like
a good idea.
That sounds like a fair deal.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your night.
Good night.